All right. Hello and welcome to the Wikibrands Collective Webcast. My name is Doyle Buehler, and we are an on-demand collective of professional transformation talent that is rocking the boat on the wave of disruption. And this is the Signal series and a conversation about the on-demand economy, crowd platforms, distributed models, and industry disruption. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by our guest, Epi Ludvik, founder of Bold Awards and Crowdsourcing Week, and he's joining us from Singapore. And I have Sean Moffitt, Managing Director of Wikibrands in Toronto. And I'm your host, Doyle Buehler, CEO of Dept.Digital, and I'm joining you from Perth, Australia. So welcome, Epi. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me. I founded Crowdsourcing Week a while back, about 6 years ago, and just recently we launched a Bold Awards, which is an extension product of a Crowdsourcing Week focused around the recognizing the boldest achievement or the boldest products or the boldest projects or the companies on a category that we select. It's a very dynamic project that we're doing this in collaboration with H-Farm. Sean, you've been there, you've seen it at the place, and so we're really excited to go back there and do this. It's a formal event. And we're looking to really bring ecosystems from all around the world. So it's really exciting. Crowdsourcing Week, as you might know, it's been going on for 6 years. And that is a platform that really focuses around how crowdsourcing really can be applicable for innovation, R&D, design, and the list goes on. So that's what we're doing. And we have our global conference coming up, which we have not announced yet, which I will be announcing that very soon. So
excellent. Are you going to announce that?
We'll be breaking this.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, are you ready to announce that here?
Still finalize if you think so.
Yeah, well, that'll be your closing comment, right?
Yeah.
And we also have Sean Moffitt. Quickly tell us a little bit about yourself, Sean.
Oh my God, this is our 13th
the brains.
episode, Doyle. Like, they probably know me already, but Managing Director of Wikibrands, and I guess in a previous life, certainly I completely geeked out on crowdsourcing, sharing economy. So this is a topic I really love, and there's no better person to have on here than Epi. So I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Fantastic. So we're going to be talking about crowdsourcing. We're going to be talking about on-demand sharing economy, what's happening right now, and maybe we'll get a little bit more on Epi about the Bold Awards and the Crowdsourcing Week as well. So let's start. I mean, what is the on-demand sharing economy? Why don't we start there?
Well, it's primarily focused around marketplaces, I would say, and I think the marketplace have evolved for now. Like, we are really living in the next wave of this marketplaces, which will focus mostly around the more like the specialized services, where the previous one that we've been experiencing from 2008 to 2009 era, which was more about the goods and simple services. So this is really changing, but the focus now also with the crowdsourcing, also the how crowdsourcing can be as a part of these human computational systems that can be embedded into some kind of attention economy, like for example gaming, and solving some really big problems by microtasking. So I call it more like an indirect crowdsourcing itself.
But how do we get here? Like, what was it? Was it a confluence of technology and people, or just technology, or the capabilities? Like what brought us here?
Well, I think the needs. When you look at like 2000, the last wave of the marketplaces happened during the economic recession that we had, and those immediate needs that people needed to get it from a peer-to-peer networks. That's what the technology brought us and facilitated all these. The skills and the tangible resources that we have. But when you look at crowdsourcing, it existed from, ever since the humans were able to share the resources. Of course, now it's the technology that enables much better and much easier to share it among cross-border and so on. So I think the opportunity here that we're seeing is that the more connected devices and more connected people, it creates a much more bigger opportunities for a new marketplace that we're seeing about the future of work, I would say.
Oh, cool. It's good. That's detailed. So Sean, where are we kind of headed then with it?
Well, it's interesting because I always like the start of new movements. You think about blogging in the late 90s or maybe mid 90s, and it's like there's a purity of intention there. And I found with crowdsourcing and sharing economy, there was a group of people maybe in the early 2000s that was like, wow, we've landed on something that's really curious, and now we're globally connected. And there was this real organic movement of people to go, look, what can we do with this thing called crowdsourcing and sharing economy? It's interesting, and I'm curious what Epi has to say about this because obviously he lives this day to day. But 4 or 5 years later, the marketplaces like Uber and Lyft and WeWork and all these different kind of entities came along that marry technology and crowds, and we're probably a little bit less passionate about the actual let's connect people to each other, and more interested in how do we make profit and how do we make a global marketplace that is a lot more efficient. So, I think this can go two different ways. It can go very, smarter, like let's make the world intelligent. Let's use our resources more intelligently, which has a benefit, but is also very cold and calculating at times. Or it can go very human and say, look, the world is afflicted with a whole bunch of these issues, whether it's data awareness and like what privacy is going on, like can we use these different crowd entities to actually be a force for good in the world? So I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm curious to know where Epi thinks it's going to go. But usually I'm really good at predicting what is going to happen next. In this world, I think depending on who prevails, this could go one of those two different ways.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well,
Epi, what do you think?
Well, I personally think that that Wuhan moment that we got during this time, where everybody thinks like the sharing economy is going to change everything, whatever. If you look at, for example, today, what happened to many of those is that they either completely went out of business or they've been bought. And the reason why is because, first of all, it's pretty much I always say who's behind it, and so who's behind it and who's willing to take what kind of money is the one really who really plays the cards well. And I think what we're going to see now is we're going to see a much more sophisticated and much more professional coming into the game and knowing exactly where they're going to go with it and how they're going to disrupt this really huge industries. And I'm talking about really about the more like the licensed professional group. And the other area when I see that in terms of the how this can really bring into a breakthroughs. So think about for a moment. We typically we think that the professionals or the experts are the ones who are going to really solve our problems. And Albert Einstein used to say we cannot, solve our own problem with the people who create in the first place. So the experts are not going to really get us to the breakthroughs. We need more idiots in the game to really help us into the breakthrough. So I think open challenges are also changing because now we started to see like a different platform with a different type of communities. I just had a webinar a few days ago with Steve Rader from NASA. He's a deputy manager for NASA Collaboration Labs, and he's talking that now they are moving from 13 different crowds to 30 different crowds in terms of innovation. Wow. So and what they are very interested right now, they're very interested on the amateurs rather than the experts itself, because they're seeing over and over again that amateurs are really bringing much more bigger value and much more efficient innovation than the experts itself. So when we're talking about the exponential, or we're talking about, the experts are not going to bring us to the exponential curve. The idiots are going to bring us to the exponential curve. And I think I'm probably one of those too. So.
Interesting. So who should I invest in today?
Doyle, I think that's a great question though, because oftentimes, like I think every 4 or 5 years in this space, you had a new set of companies that came along. I guarantee you, if we were talking 5 years ago, we would barely know what Uber or Lyft or Airbnb was. Like we wouldn't. It would have been one of these startups that became big. And so I've kind of tracked this whole space, and every 5 years, it seems to be a different set of players come into being. This is an interesting one right now because I don't know who that new player is right now. And maybe it's so mature now that it's just the Google and the Facebooks and kind of the top 6 or 7 tech companies of the world will rule this space. But my hope is, and maybe Epi will chime in and tell me, no, there's a group that you don't even know of yet, and they're going to be great in this space. But I do bemoan the fact that we're not getting enough fresh thinking and not enough kind of, I guess, disruption of the status quo in terms of some of these movements.
And these things, they just kind of happen, because looking back, like what you're saying, Sean, like you look back like 5 years and to both A and B are right around the same time. And somebody was telling me, you know, in a meeting that, yeah, you can call up these taxis kind of thing on your phone. And I'm thinking, well, that's not that big of a deal, right? But once it's sort of there's that initial idea, and then you actually see how it works, and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. And likewise with Airbnb, it was like somebody approached me to rent my apartment in Sydney. So it's like, well, what do you mean you share this kind of thing? So it's kind of, you stumble upon it, but it's there, and it's like, oh wow, I really, really get this. So anyway, just sort of my insights on that. Epi, could you tell us a little bit? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add, there's also like the desires of the people are changing too. You know, if you look at, for example, freelancing, it is motivated by different things, not just one particular thing. And we have to understand that also reflects in terms of like how we are going to see the future of education. And this is where we are living at the moment. So this type of work that we're going to see, remote working, it really brings us to the next question, which means like, okay, as people are doing more and more remote working, that means that there are people living in different places all the time, and now there's a different needs and different wants from people. So I think it's just the beginning of what this future work will look like. I strongly believe that we in 15 years we're not going to call work. We're going to call it something else. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Well, vacation, because AI is going to take over, right? It's going to take my job. That's crowdsourcing.
Well, it's great. I love that. I love the AI that's going to take our jobs, because guess what? You know, for last industrial revolution, think about for a moment, like we created stress robots out of people. You know, people are not made by God. They're not made by God to be stressed and work out of stress. They are made to work out of rest. Like robots could do very well that job, and we can do much bigger things in the world.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So quickly, Epi, tell us a little bit more about the Bold Awards and how those work.
Well, you know, it cannot get bolder than bold, right? So it's about really the boldest projects. And this is our first edition.
Okay.
When we came together, because we have this working relationship with H Farm, we came together early last year. We decided, what can we do to create a unique experience, but also bring in communities online and offline in a very formal setting. So it is a formal dinner event where the winners will be revealed at the H Farm, but we have also this crowdsource model where we ask people for submissions. So they're submitting. Actually, the deadline for submission is tomorrow evening Eastern time by almost midnight. And after that, we have public voting coming in, which takes for 10 days. So we allow public to come and vote for the boldest projects on the categories. And after that, we have the judges coming in. They do a selection of 5 nominees for each category, which brings 5 nominees of each category coming to Bold Awards in Venice on April 5th. And the winner will be revealed there.
Cool. And that's obviously global, right?
Yeah, so we decided to really we decided to make it quite global. We had some really great submissions. The whole entire feedback was really phenomenal, and so we're really excited about it.
Can companies still enter? And do you have the web URL?
Still, actually, you know, because since last week I've been getting these notifications, because last week we implemented the paid, which is 25 euros. We only asked for a nominal fee to enter, but it was free to submit the project. And now we're just still coming in the 25 euros on PayPal, which seems pretty good. Of course, you know, we're donating half that money to the Human for Age for Human Foundation, which is the Age Foundation.
Well, that's good. So how can businesses enter?
Easy. Go to Bold Awards, pick the category there. You can go in and you can just pick 3 categories. The most you can do is 3 categories.
Boldawards.com or
bold-awards.com.
Bold-awards.com. Okay, I'll put that on screen.
I was on the site yesterday, Epi, and I love the categories. I mean,
Thanks.
We talk about bold companies, but the categories themselves evoke the fact, okay, whoever wins this category, I want to see who wins, because they just seem to be germane to this topic, but also, wow, like it's just not the most popular brand or the biggest company. It's truly people that are creating impact, right?
That's cool. And the award ceremony is in Singapore then? And when did you say the date is?
It's in Venice, Italy.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So there's this place called H Farm, and H Farm is one of the most, I'd say, like unique campuses in Europe. Sits outside of Venice, like 15 minutes away from Venice. They're focused in 3 areas. One, they're focused on the education, on the digital transformation. Second, on the corporate innovation. And third, to do acceleration of startups. So they're a very unique place. We thought bringing a very unique setting, like a formal event in such a great place, will do a really good way. And I think a lot of people are really excited about it, and I can't wait to see it happen.
I can testify to this, Doyle. H Farm, I've seen so many incubators in my life. This is one of the most idyllic. You think about some of the best countryside in Italy, and you put like this really funky group of buildings that are dedicated to incubating kind of great innovative thought.
Nice.
The venue itself should sell this event out, because it's amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to take a look, and we'll pass that link around as well. So, Sean, let's get you to wrap up. You've sort of got your own on-demand professional crowdsourcing nugget in your pocket, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the heart of where we've gone with Wikibrands now, this second generation of it is, there are a lot of great companies around the world. I mean, I will give Deloitte and the big consultancies and some of the agencies and software firms I know out there good credit in terms of just producing services for people that work. Having said that, there's a lot of baggage out there. I've dealt with it both as a client and as a service provider, where the services that you're actually buying are not necessarily the services that you want. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of chaos involved. Certainly, I take a very customer-centric approach to what I do. I haven't found that same type of attitude within service companies and vendors I've worked with in the past. And so, selfishly on this webcast, I guess the fusion is, certainly I geek out on on-demand economy and marketplaces, but I also love bring together freelancers and talent within the professional space. And it's been very rarely done before. There's a few interesting examples in other geographies, none in North America, that bring together what I would call leading edge technology, creative, change agent, transformation talent together under one roof and say, look, if you believe in some of the things that we believe in, why don't you work with us as a team? And when we go to clients, we can actually bring the best of breed people. I think the average amount of experience of people within our collective now is about 22 years. So when you're working with us versus maybe a big consultancy, you're getting people that not only have been through the wars, have been in positions that are highly respected and had a lot riding on the line, but many of these people are also entrepreneurs. So they're staking their entire livelihoods on being good at what they do. And so we think there's a real differentiating entity here in terms of what we're doing, in terms of bring together, I think at this point we have about 82 members, bring together the best talent under one roof and say, look, what's your problem, client? We have a great group of people that are known to work collaboratively. And if you think you can drive cars with Uber, and if you think you don't need to be at a hotel anymore with Airbnb, why can't we look at Deloitte and Publicis and a whole bunch of different entities and say, why do we need to do that versus doing something that's a lot more collaborative, a lot more on demand, and a lot more sourcing the absolute best talent for your problem versus an entity that just built together this set of talent that might not be for your goals. So that's my humble statement in terms of what we're doing. But I think professional services is about to experience a big upheaval in terms of this whole on-demand economy thing. We'd like to be part of it.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's a really cool group, the Wikibrands Collective, and really excited to be part of that. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sean and Epi. I really appreciate your time and your wonderful insights. And Thanks for watching and listening to the Wikibrands Collective, the Signals webcast series. Go to wiki-brands.com/webcast for more episodes like this on some of our other amazing think tank discussions. Thanks to our guest, Epi. We'd love to have you back on the show as well, so keep that in mind. I'm
Thank
sure
you
we could
both.
talk for hours. Yep. And Sean as well, thank you for your insights. And I'm your host, Doyle Buehler. And if you learned something, please like and share, or simply ask us a question and we'll respond as quickly as possible. We have some amazing shows coming up as well on the Wikibrands Collective webcast. Take a look at wiki-brands.com/webcast to find out more. Thank you and have a great evening, and we will see everybody online.
Great. Thank you.